Hello. This is another edition of my shopping bag, just stuff I bought that I wanted to talk about, but I couldn't really find a better video context than just kind of laying them a whole bunch of random things together. I did notice in the process of setting this up that a whole bunch of my past videos have been recorded in 4:3 for some reason. So clearly that's a setting I didn't bother to change or didn't bother to check. Sorry about that. So now we have the full range of video for me to fit like 4 bottles and 4 glasses in. All right, so what do we got here? We got Cachaça, a Novo Fogo. We got Laird's sort of standard issue black label straight apple brandy, bottle and bond. This has been languishing on your bar for like 3 years now, and it wants you to use it. Also got a bottle of Few. This is a Binny's barrel pick, although it's a little bit special. We'll get into that. And a bottle of Baijiu from Luzhou Laojiao. This is their entry level, which won my blank and Coke competition. I will link that down below. Actually, the Laird did pretty well in that too. All right, so let's just get into these. I'm going to pour them. Okay, and the brandy. And the Few rye from Evanston, kind of right up the road. Well, I mean, it's Chicago, so right up the road means like an hour trip, but still. And Baijiu. Oh, good Lord. I will spend the rest of the afternoon drinking all of these. All right, so let's get started and knock these out. All right, so starting with the, this is a Novo Fogo. This is a pick by Off Premise in Chicago and in partnership with the Duck Inn. This is barrel number 61, aged in oak, 1.2 years. It's also bottle number 145. Now, the thing that interested me, the reason why I bought it, is that it is 46.6% alcohol by volume. That is important because one of the problems... So, to back up a little bit, you may have noticed I review a lot of rums in this channel, and I've yet to review a cachaça. The reason for that is it feels a little bit to me like a category kind of waiting to realize itself. Most of the cachaças out there, I mean, nothing wrong with the LeBlancs and yeah, the Novo Fogo Blanc whites, but a lot of them are bottled at 40%. A lot of them have some problems with like transparency, like where they're coming from. I mean, it's a category of potential, like pot distillation, right? Weird oaks, or weird woods, I should say. Different varietals of cane, different production methods. All that is exciting. But to my opinion, it hasn't really come through on the sort of American liquor shelf, especially because the proofs have been so darn low. That part of that is for legal reasons, but also they're just really low. And so a lot of the time, if you've wanted a pure cane juice rum, you've been better off just, you know, heading down the shelf a little bit and buying something from I mean, you know, name your source. The French Caribbean, Mexico, Haiti, you know, lots of places make a really solid cane juice rum. But I bought this because, you know, barrel pick and 46.6%. All right, so on the nose. Roro, this is very oaky. Very confected. In a way, it reminds me of a lot of the sort of younger entry-level aged agricole rums from Martinique, which is not my favorite style in the world. There's a way in which when you put something in oak initially, it sort of gets dumbed down before it starts to gain complexity with the aging. And this is feels like it's kind of in that place. Very, very confected, like Cinnabons. Just a ton of Cinnabons, like a truckload of Cinnabons. Some cafe latte. Kind of like a dinner mint note. You know, the little pastel colored, like little blue pink, like yellow pastel dinner mints, that kind of thing. You're getting that in the nose. It does have some cane, juicy, rummy sorts of notes. There's a little bit of rubber cement on this, which I like. It smells extremely creamy. There's a kind of chai characteristic in this, like chai made, like, you know, whole milk wasn't enough. You like dump some cream in there. That's that kind of chai. Black tea, kind of a pumpkin pie note. And a little bit of a licorice thing. A little, you know, just one piece of black licorice in there just to give it a little complexity. But it's a very clean, very desserty kind of nose. On the palate, very oaky, very desserty. The licorice characteristics are more active on the palate, which I like. But yeah, this is really driven by sort of sweet tea, tannic sweet tea. The tannins are really big on the back end. There's a kind of vanilla Coke characteristic to this. Some white pepper. That kind of black licorice rubbery thing. Maybe one black olive in there too. You know, a few things going on making this interesting. Latte again, maybe more like you put a little squirt of vanilla flavoring in your latte. Little bit of a brininess, little seawater. You know, we're still in rum territory here. And then a nutshell character, which is very obvious. It's just like mixed crushed nutshells. And that's kind of it. Maybe a little bit of like banana peel in there too. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Like you know, just fresh banana peel. Identifiable as a rum, but really it feels like the American oak, the cask has kind of run roughshod over this. So far, I mean, if you gave this a couple more years, I think it would get more interesting. But right now, you know, I hate to say this confirms my suspicions about my stereotypes about cachaça, but it's kind of doing that. I do like that it's bottled with higher strength. This is not bad by any means, but it feels a little bit basic. And it, you know, how much did I pay for this? Like, this is in the $40 range. You know, why not go down the shelf to, you know, the French Caribbean, honestly. All right, but moving on to the Lairds. Let's knock these out. All right, Laird's. This is the standard straight apple brandy, bottled and bond. This is so the headquarters is in New Jersey, right next to a bunch of big golf courses and, you know, condos and stuff. But the actual distillery is in Virginia, in what is it, North Garden, where they actually still grow some apples, and it hasn't all been taken over by golf courses and condos. So this is the one you want to buy as your entry-level Laird's. Ignore the Applejack. Let me repeat that. Do not buy the Applejack. Buy this. Spend the extra money. All right, on the nose with this. Okay, it's appley and it's big. It's a big explosive nose. It's a little bit raw, a little hairy in there. So you're getting mixed apples, herbal tea, a little bit of like appley astringency actually. Not necessarily in a nice way. There's a little harshness in this. Some orange peel, something like old manish, like aftershave. Yeah, I'm gonna go aftershave, like your Kevin in Home Alone. You did the thing, and you're screaming because the aftershave smell is overwhelming you. Hot toddies, nice hot toddies, really heavily spiced hot toddies. Kind of a walnut note, like a touch of walnut. And then just mixed apples, a little like herbal tea. Suggestions of cardamom. It's very light, but there's some cardamom going on in here, along with the the hot toddy notes. It's a very simple nose, but and it is the apple distillate when it's young can be a little bit hairy, a little bit difficult. But beyond that, I mean, this is just lovely. I have no complaints, especially for the price they're asking. On the palate. So bottled and bond, ooh. Bottled and bond always means 50% alcohol, right? You're never going to see anything higher or lower than that because legal reasons. So, and the alcohol actually comes through pretty brutally. It feels a little nippy, a little thin actually. I would think this is chilled filtered, though I'm not sure. And again, a little bit raw, a little bit hairy, but it's nice. So you're getting less like dessert apples, more cider apples now. It's more sour, a little bit more stringent on the palate. Okay, some stewed black tea, strong stewed black tea, black pepper, like a cinnamon stick, just like put that thing in your mouth and break it off. Very floral. There's like a potpourri thing in my mouth. And then it's like a little bit woody on the back end, that sort of, tea tannins, wood tannins thing. Again, very simple, a little bit raw, but just nice. Yeah, especially on the back end, it's just a little bit too brutal, a little bit too raw. Did I remember to add water to this cachaça? Let me see. I don't think I did. Let's add a little bit, and then let's add a couple squirts to my Laird's here. All right, moving on. In a format like this, you just don't worry, ain't got time for mistakes. We're just gonna move on. Okay, the Few Rye Whiskey. Now, the special thing about this is it is a single barrel special selection. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I cannot tell you what barrel this is because it was a Binny's pick. But if you will notice, the barrel number is not actually written in. I bought this on closeout. I bought actually a couple bottles. So I am guessing what happened is they got a couple of barrels. They did a couple barrel picks, and someone did not write in the barrel number. So these showed up. They had no idea what it was, and they thought, okay, screw it. We'll just put them on closeout and get rid of them, and then sell the rest of what we got. So I cannot tell you what barrel number this is because it's not marked. Do I care? Not really. All right, so Few Distillery up in Evanston. I like their stuff very much. Let's see, mashed, fermented, distilled, aged at least 1 year in charred new oak barrels, bottled by Few Spirits. So no idea how old this actually is, although it is marked as somewhere it's marked as a straight rye, which means this is at least 2 years old. They're saying on the back 1, but straight means it legally has to be 2. And I forget the mash bill in this. I will put that down in the information below. I have no idea what the mash bill is right now. Sorry. But it is bottled at 50.5% alcohol. They're doing a 101 thing. They're doing a little bit of a wild turkey riff. And I'm okay with that as a fan of wild turkey. Okay, on the nose. On this nameless barrel. Okay, this is... God, I love what Few does. This smell... Okay, so back up. My wife is Lithuanian, and for a while, until I got lazy, I was making her this stuff called black bread, which is a very heavy, serious rye sourdough. It takes like hours and hours to rise because you're using, a sourdough starter rather than, traditional yeast. But this nose smells exactly like fermenting black bread. So we're a couple of hours in to the fermentation. I am taking the top off of my dough, and I am just sticking my nose in and smelling it. This is what it smells like. Fermenting rye bread. But we're gonna kind of take that dough and we're gonna smother it in cinnamon toast crunch. So we're getting cereal and lots of cinnamon sugar. There's a kind of Lipton's tea note in here, like Lipton's iced tea, and some WD-40, little industrial fluid in here. It smells very industrial, actually, but like nice. Yeah, it smells like you're trying to get some screws loose, that kind of thing, but nice. Some pickled ginger, kind of a. Maybe this is just because I'm nosing it after the Laird, but there is an apple cider note in here, like high-end apple cider, which is a lot of cinnamon and spices thrown into it. But then there's an orange note, kind of a orange liqueur thing, like a Grand Marnier note. Yeah, like orange and brandy. And a little bit of the kimchi thing that I was getting in Sonoma Distilling's rye. And then some light floral notes as well. So sort of like some like lawn flowers, pretty simple. It's a great nose. The sourdough rye just dominates on the palate. Oh, that is nice. Sorry. That's how nice it is. It tried to kill me. So that that black bread stuff I was talking about, the Baltic style black bread. If you were to try to take that same sourdough and make it into like a coffee cake, so like throw some sour cream in there, some cinnamon. This is kind of what it would taste like. Yeah, serious Eastern European rye bread, but coffee cake. Some lapsang souchong, like lightly smoked lapsang. Grand Marnier again. Also, actually, no, it's there's some more of a tangerine note in there. There's reminds me of there's this stuff called Gran Gala, which is like off-brand Italian Grand Marnier, which has a much more aggressive kind of tangerine-y kind of note. That's kind of what I'm getting on this, more Grand Gala than Grand Marnier. Lipton's again, Lipton's iced tea. Something, what is that? Something industrial, but it's almost like old bike tires. Like you're in a junkyard and you just see a pile of old bike tires or something, and you just kind of like taste some of them, like that. Kimchi again, fermenting vegetables with a little heat on them. Fennel. And then you're going to throw like a shot of Mar de Bourgogne on there, like pomace brandy. French oak pomace brandy. and I really like it. This is a terrific bottle of rye. Do I like it more than the sort of standard stuff? So if you had like a barrel strength version of this years ago and it's terrific, it's not as good as that. Do I like it as, more than I like the sort of standard stuff at, what is it, like 46, 47%? Maybe a hair. Not that much though. It's. Let me add water to it and see how see what my judgment is. 2 squirts and we'll come back. Is that enough? Yep, we're good. Okay. And lastly, this is Luzhou Laojiao. I had been promising ever since I reviewed Ming River, this stuff, to also do a review of some other sort of, how do I put, less Americanized Luzhou Laojiao releases. Again, Luzhou Laojiao, probably the oldest distillery in the world. They've been making the strong aroma style of baijiu in Sichuan forever. This is actually so far as I know, the cheapest release they do. It is 80% sorghum, 20% wheat, bottled at 52% volume. That makes a difference because the Ming River, which I enjoyed very much, was only bottled at a mere 45% alcohol by volume. This probably doesn't see much aging. Again, it would be aged in clay in any case. But if this sees any aging in clay, I would think not very much. And again, this is produced in traditional baijiu fashion. There's no wash. It is solid state fermented with chu, which is this kind of bio bomb thing that they mix with the grains to kind of get it to ferment, but also convert into sugar, and also just like there's some fungus in there. It's fun stuff, and it comes through on the aromatics of baijiu. So I think this is so it's Luzhou Laojiao Erqu Jiu. I said Jiu in the Blank and Coke video, and I think it's actually Erqu Jiu. All right, anyways, here we go. On the nose of this extremely budget, value-driven baijiu. I think someplace on the internet you can get this in the teens, under 20 bucks. And on the nose, oh God, I love this nose. It's just so bonkers. It's anise and it's fennel forever. And then, it's sort of, but sort of playing along with that a little bit, playing in the background, there's a lot of kind of fruitiness, tropical fruitiness. So orange peel, pineapple, kiwi, but like almost like rotting kiwi, like kiwi compost, kiwi that's been decaying for a little while. Unlike the Ming River, this doesn't have a whole lot of cheese going on. Doesn't have a whole lot of cheese notes. There's maybe a little hint of Munster in there. Not very much. And there is something which, so this was a little bit of a light bulb moment for me. This smells a little bit like a lambic. I hadn't had lambics in years, and I had one a couple of weeks ago, and I realized, oh holy God, this kind of reminds me of baijiu. And yeah, you're getting that sort of wild fermented grain sort of note in here, but it's just kind of drowned out by the sheer mass of licorice and fennel and anise and pastis and all that stuff, along with the tropical fruit notes. But there's definitely a lambic note in here. On the palate, it doesn't take a whole lot of time to grow to love this stuff. I will be honest. Oh, that's really charming. So very nippy, 52% alcohol, and it comes through. You'll notice I've ordered this in order of increasing alcohol. Tons of black licorice. Black licorice forever. You went to Denmark and you got the real stuff, the salted licorice, and you brought it home and you just ate the whole bag at once. That's what's going on. But you're going to throw some kiwi in there, some pineapple, like a orange, like a rotting orange that's kind of growing white stuff on it. Maybe more orange peel than like the orange fruit. And a little bit of a potpourri note as well. Kind of reminds me, in a very weird way, it reminds me of the Laird's in that. It's got a kind of a potpourri thing going on. So, you know, probably only aged in clay if aged at all. And it kind of comes through. Most of what's happening is happening at the front of my mouth. Very front forward. But, you know, beyond that complaint of just the mouthfeel not sort of extending beyond, you know, my middle teeth, this is pretty perfect. I mean, especially for the prices you can get it at somewhere in some places. I have absolutely no complaints about this. Can I think of any other tasting notes? I can't. Let's move on. Oh God, I can still taste it. A little more. All right, let's go through. Okay, so I knew the baijiu would ruin my palate, so I brought along a little extra glass of water. Oh. You know, I'm still tasting pineapple and licorice, but you know, maybe I can still carry through on this. All right, let's go through these one more time. Give them a final score. All right, back to the Novo Fogo barrel pick. With water, more chai, actually, but more cinnamon as well. I mean, it's very desserty. It's, okay, there's the licorice. The licorice is still there. Kind of hanging around, making things more interesting. But very, very desserty. But the problem, here's the problem with this cachaça. And I've tried some others in the sort of weirder Brazilian woods that don't have this problem, but this one kind of does, and this is the only one I've seen it at proof this high. You kind of know these flavors. Like you've had like cinnamon bun in a spirit before. You've had, you know, the chai stuff going on, the latte stuff, the slight mintiness. Even the licorice thing, you've had it before in spirits. There's nothing sort of, it's nice. It's kind of desserty and pleasant, but there's nothing really distinctive about this that makes it stand out. On the palate, with water, ooh. With water, this actually becomes even sweeter and more dessert-like. This really tastes like Cinnabon ice cream with a little bit of like pastis in the ice cream formula. It's nice. There's a little bit of like wood creeping in, the wood tannins. Not bad, but I am not really excited by this. This comes across as kind of basic. I'm going to give this 81 points. You know, and that's not a bad score. I mean, we are at the high end of, you know, of suck there. This is pretty close to good, actually. But I mean, for the price they're asking for this, I mean, you can go down the shelf and just have your pick of a lot of the sort of other cane juice rums that just have more going on. So sorry, Novo Fogo. I look forward to having other releases from you that impress me more. All right, moving on though. I'm still kind of tasting the Baijiu, Jesus, which I love, but at the same time, it's making this kind of hard. All right, back to the Lairds. Lairds with a little bit of water. Kind of more of everything. The water just opens it right up, which is what I like. More appley, more aftershavey as well. A lot of pepper in this. A lot of old man cologne. And more cidery as well. Sort of just classic, apple cider. It really smells quite delicious. It's obviously pretty young, and not the smoothest thing in the world, to the extent that smooth still means good. But it's really it's lovely nose on the palate. Oh, okay. That's interesting. On the palate, the apple character kind of pulls back a little bit. So we're keeping the cologne and the potpourri aspect of it, but then it's just a lot of American oak and a little bit of pepper. It comes across as a very cologne-driven bourbon, actually. On the let me try this one more time, which is not the worst thing in the world. No, there's apple still there, but it's not running the show anymore. Mm-hmm. It's nice. I like this. The raw character of this means I can't give it a super duper high score. I would give this an 83 out of 100. But this is pretty solid. As a sipper, what I would do, honestly, is get yourself a bottle of the 7.5-year-old Laird's, which I reviewed previously. I will link that up. And just kind of vat them together. Vat them half and half. Use this to give the 7.5-year-old at 80 proof a little bit of oomph. Use the 7.5-year-old to give this a little bit more refinement. But it's perfectly nice on its own. And if you have this in your cabinet, and you probably do, go back to it. It deserves your attention. All right, moving on to the fuel. All right, with a little bit of water. No. Not a whole lot of development on the nose of this. There's a little more cardamom going on, and ginger, kind of a mix of gingers. A little ginger powder, but also a little bit of like green ginger. And what is that? Something like almost like a sparkling wine, like a really really leesy sparkling wine, like a if you ever had a Cava Gran Reserva that's been aging on its lees for I don't know, a couple of years, and it just smells kind of bready, but at the same time not bready, just like leesy sparkling wine. That's kind of what I'm getting here. This is, Gran Reserva Cava that's kind of old, maybe a little funky. And then all the stuff from before, the rye bread, the fermentation. It's nice. It doesn't develop that much, but the original nose is so nice, it doesn't really need to develop that much. On the palate, sweetens up. Also gets more peppery and a little bit more wood tannic. Let me try that one more time. God damn, that's good. Extremely well made. Peppery, a little more floral. The sourdough aspect kind of recedes, and you're just left with this kind of nice rye graininess. Yeah, really nice. You know, as much as I love Koval and some of the other Illinois distillers, I think this is the best rye in the Chicago area, and not by a small margin. This is really good. I don't like it as much as I like the Sonoma rye, but yeah, this is super solid. If you can't get this, I would just get the standard few at 47%, whatever it is. It's almost as good. But this particular, nameless barrel pick, I would give 86 out of 100. This is real good. All right, and moving on. Back to the Baijiu. With a little bit of water now. It actually gets fruitier with water, the Erqu Jiu. There's this varietal of orange called bergamot, or I don't even know if it should be called an orange, but it's orange. It's in that same family, which is kind of orange but more herbal, more aromatic and herbaceous and green. And that's kind of what I'm getting on the nose here, along with all the licorice and anise and stuff like that. And a little lemon now, actually, creeping through. Also pineapple and all that previous stuff. I mean, if you have, $20 in your pocket, you are not going to get a more complex nose on a spirit than with this. You just won't. I mean, there is so much going on here. It's all kind of lumped together into this unity of licorice and bergamot and orange and lemon and pineapple, and that little hint of like Munster or whatever that is. But there is so much going on in this distillate. On the palate, ooh. Yeah. With water, this actually integrates a little bit more. So the licorice actually kind of integrates and wraps itself into those kind of tropical fruity notes. There's also a little bit of a mineral note coming out now, and that's a white pepper note as well. Still very forward in the mouth. But yeah, it's just if you like, licorice and slightly overripe tropical fruits, and bergamot, I guess. I mean, this is an absolutely silly value. Yeah, this is 84 points out of 100, which is actually the same score as I gave the Ming River. This probably has more things going on. It's definitely more cheesy. There is more cheesy stuff going on in here. So, a little bit more complex, but those, the 52% in this versus the 45, it makes a difference. It really does. So, yeah, 84 for the Erqu Jiu. And yeah, that's kind of it for my shopping bag here. So we got 81 for the Novo Fogo, 83 for the Lairds, 86 for the Few, and 84 for the Baijiu here. And yeah, I hope this was somewhat educational and fun. Thanks for watching, and cheers.